Hi friends, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video. So today I have for you the first day of previews for the Greeting Farm. This is Cheeky A+. She is adorable. I have always been a fan of the Greeting Farm and a fan of the Cheeky line. I've been on the design team for three years now, I do believe. This is my last term. Unfortunately, they've moved to American only. I'm Canadian. That's okay. I love the Greeting Farm. I'll still buy their stamps and you will still see projects. So I'm starting out by stamping her out on some Neenah 110 pound paper with just black ink that is Copic compatible, and we're going to jump into coloring. I'm going into my standard skin tone, which is E04, E11, E21, E51, and E50, and then I did pull out R02 and R01 to do her little sweet cheeks. I do work from dark to light with all of my coloring. You'll see I miss a piece of her skin and her hair. We do come back to that after. So we'll just start blending that all out, going over top of the darker color with the lighter color, as you'll see here, in order to create a nice transition between the different tones to give her a little bit of shape in her beautiful little face here. Like I said, the Cheekies are probably one of my favorite characters from the Greeting Farm. They're definitely what got me super thrilled with the company 10-ish years ago when I first started stamping and coloring. They were just kind of like, I was like, they're perfect. They're like pin-uppy and super cute. And at the time I was 23 or 24 years old, and that was super cool. And I still love them. I think they're fun and exciting and something a little bit different from most of the images we see in the stamping world. Don't get me wrong. Y'all know I'm a flower lover, but these girls just get me excited. I do come back in here and give her a little bit of a nose shape. So we'll finish blending that all out. Once I get through this E51, I will come in with my cheek colors with my two R's in order to give her a little bit of rosy cheeks underneath of her eyes there, just to give her a little bit of life in her complexion. I contemplated putting some around her nose. Sometimes I like to do that just to blush up the entire face. I decided against it this time, but it's always a thought that's there and something that you can add into your images just to give them a little bit more of a flushed out look. And then over it all again with the E51 just to finish everything off. And then we'll jump into coloring the rest of her. So we're going to do her hair next. I kept her hair super simple. We went in with E41. I'm not sure why the color's all blown out here. I apologize for that. I must have had something move on me. And then E42, and that's all I did for her hair. I kept it really light and really blonde, and it gave it enough definition. You don't always have to go in with 100 markers, even though I like to go a little overkill on my blending. A lot of the time with the hair, less is more. It just gives it a little bit more of the texture of hair, and I find it works really good, especially for blondes and things of that nature. So I'm starting either where the part of her head is, and I'm pulling away from there, or where the hair kind of pinches together, like where it's tucked behind her ear, or where the curve folds in on the right-hand side, just to give it where you would see the hair tighter together would be where the darker shadows are, kind of a deal. And now going back through with the E42 just to give it some shadows. I think she's super adorable. I really, really do. So I hope everybody has been doing well. Where I am right now, we're having ice rain, which is fantastic. It's supposed to turn into snow later. Yeah, nobody's driving. You don't want to be out on the roads today. So here I am doing voiceovers and filming videos for y'all. I'm quite content with that. Go through the left head side of her head here. And then we'll jump into the rest of her. So I've been dealing with an allergy. I've had my eyes swollen shut for days and days and days, and I think it's getting better, and then it comes back. And due to the whole COVID situation, my doctor's not seeing patients in person. He won't refer me for testing until he sees me in person, and it's just a big kerfluffle, and I am finally to the point where I feel human again. My eyes aren't itchy. They still get sore by the end of the day. I think that's just because they've been sore for as long as they have been. But I'm definitely feeling way better than I have been for the last 2.5 months. So that's exciting. You saw me color up her clipboard. Now I'm just coloring in her, the little clip on the clipboard, adding a little bit of E81. That cap's upside down. Did you notice that? Twice that cap's upside down. just to give the paper a little bit of color. And now we're going to give her a nice bright red dress. So I picked a red dress because of the paper I'm using. This is an old Graphic 45 paper, the Schoolhouse line. I can't even remember what it was called. This is old paper. Like back when I used to scrapbook and build mini albums, and that was a long time ago. Graphic 45, an ABC primer collection, the grammar school. Oh, that's the sheet. But yeah, the ABC primer collection. So it's their old school collection. I love the way it turns out in the end. So I started off with the R89 and then the R29. And now I'm going into my brighter colors here with the R08, 05, and then our lightest color is the 02. I forgot her little hair clip. I realized it at about this point. And then I was like, finish coloring her dress and then go back to it. So go in with the lightest color here. And then we'll finish off her little hair clip. I always forget things and go back. It's normal. I try not to, but it happens. A little more zero. And then I blend out that one more time with the R02 just in the bigger areas. Giving her shoes a little bit of color here with the N9. I don't know why I'm putting caps upside down today. And then the N5. Just to give her some black shoes and color in her pen. So then I just take a little micron here that I'm pulling out. At some point, I must have recorded me looking for it. And I just outlined her with the black liner and then cut her out with my scissors. When fussy cutting, I do find if I move the image and hold the scissors still, I get it a little bit better. So that's the paper I'm using, and I just glued it all together. My mats are 1/8 of an inch higher or bigger than the pattern paper, and then I did a little bit of black cardstock on top of another piece of craft to frame it out, and that acts like the blackboard. So we're going to pop her up on some foam tape, and then I'm going to stamp out this good job using some white pigment ink. It didn't stamp the best. I don't know. I've never had good luck stamping white. So what I do is I stamp it like this, and then I'm going to pull out my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, and I'm going to put a little bit of it into my ceramic palette here and add a little bit of water just to make it flow a little bit better. And I'm going to trace over top of it, and that will allow it to be super bright and white on that black paper, aka chalkboard. So I just have a tiny little brush here. I'm going to kind of play with it on a little scrap of paper, you'll see. And then we will go in and trace over top of all of those letters. As you can see, I'm just kind of getting a feel for it to make sure that I can keep the tip of the brush thin enough. And we're going to trace right over top. My head's in the way. We're going to trace right at my hand. You can't even see what I'm doing. But I'm just taking the tip of the brush. I have to hold it very vertical just so that I don't make a big mess out of it. And I can actually follow all the letters. And you can see how I'm even looking at it from the side. But I'm tracing right over top of everything just to make it nice and bright and white so you can see it all. I really like this bleed proof white ink. I've used Posca markers and Uniball Signo pens and jelly rolls and gouache and watercolor and just acrylic paints, and I've tried all the things, and thus far I think this one is my current favorite, if nothing else. I find it works well for doing little like starbursts and highlights and tracing over top of white lettering and making stars on things. I just find it's a very good all-purpose white as long as you have a brush to work with it. So after that, I just take my W5 and W3 marker and ground her out a little bit. She needed something to stand on so she didn't look like she was quite floating so much. And that is it for today's card, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'm going to write an A+ on here. If you enjoyed this, I would love a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon in another video. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.